Eliza sat alone at a cozy corner table in the bustling restaurant, her eyes scanning the entrance every few seconds. The soft hum of conversations and the clinking of cutlery filled the air, but her mind was elsewhere. Tonight was important. She was meeting Henry for their first date, and she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. No one could have predicted what would happen next. As minutes ticked by, her anxiety grew. She glanced at her phone for the umpteenth time, hoping for a reassuring message from Henry. Just as she was about to consider leaving, a well-dressed man entered the restaurant. He exuded confidence, his tailored suit fitting him perfectly. Eliza's heart skipped a beat as she realized he might be her date. Gathering her courage, she approached his table. "Are you Henry?" she asked, her voice slightly trembling. He shook his head, a polite smile on his face. "No, I'm Eric." Eliza felt a pang of disappointment, but decided to stay. She sat down, and the conversation began tentatively. "So, what do you do for a living?" she inquired. "I work in the tech field," Eric replied smoothly. "Ah, that's impressive," Eliza responded, trying to mask her initial confusion. She shared her own job, managing a coffee shop by day and overseeing the night shift at a shopping center. Their exchange flowed effortlessly, laughter punctuating their dialogue. For a moment, Eliza began to forget why she was there. As the evening progressed, the chemistry between them was undeniable. They shared stories, dreams, and even a few personal secrets. Eliza felt a connection she hadn't expected. But just as the night seemed perfect, her phone buzzed with a message from Henry. "I'm at the windowside table." Eliza's heart sank. She realized that the man she had been talking to was not Henry. Confusion and disappointment washed over her. "Why didn't you tell me you're not Henry?" she asked Eric, her voice tinged with hurt. Eric looked embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, Eliza. My real name is Eric." Before she could respond, Eliza stood up, deciding to give Henry another chance. As she walked away, Eric sat back, feeling a mix of regret and unresolved feelings. Little did they know, this encounter was just the beginning of a story neither of them could have foreseen. Eric couldn't shake off the image of Eliza walking away. His mind replayed their conversation, searching for clues he might have missed. What if she never returned? What if he had ruined his chance with her by revealing his true identity? The next morning, Eric sat by the pool of his sprawling mansion, staring blankly at the water's surface. The events of the previous night weighed heavily on him. He had been honest about not being Henry, but why had he felt the need to pretend? There was something deeper at play, a secret he hadn't fully disclosed. Meanwhile, Eliza couldn't focus on her work at the coffee shop. Thoughts of Eric lingered, distracting her from her duties. She replayed their conversations, wondering if there was more to his story. Her phone remained silent, and Henry's whereabouts became a mystery. As days passed, Eric reached out to his friend John, seeking advice. "I can't stop thinking about her," he confessed. "There's something about Eliza that I can't ignore." John listened patiently, then offered a suggestion. "Why don't you try to meet her again? Maybe explain everything." Encouraged by John's words, Eric decided to take the plunge. He began investigating the coffee shop where Eliza worked, eager to understand her world better. His tech background made the research easy, but he wanted to approach this with sincerity. Meanwhile, Eliza received no further messages from Henry. Her disappointment turned into frustration. She began to wonder if she had made a mistake, meeting a stranger instead of the man she thought she knew. Determined to move on, she immersed herself in her work, pushing thoughts of Eric to the back of her mind. One evening, as Eliza was closing up the coffee shop, Eric walked in. This time, he was dressed casually, blending in with the evening crowd. "Eliza?" he called softly. She looked up, surprise evident in her eyes. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" Eric took a deep breath. "I'm sorry for the confusion last night. I didn't want to come off as someone I'm not, but I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation. Eliza studied him, sensing genuine remorse. It's okay, Eric. I was just confused. Their conversation was tentative, but there was a spark that neither could deny. As they talked, the initial barriers began to crumble, setting the stage for a deeper connection. But lurking beneath their budding relationship were secrets that threatened to unravel everything they were building. As days turned into weeks, Eliza and Eric found themselves spending more time together. Their interactions were filled with laughter, shared interests, and an undeniable chemistry. Eliza appreciated Eric's genuine nature, while Eric admired her strength and dedication. One Saturday afternoon, they decided to explore a local art gallery. The vibrant colors and intricate designs provided a perfect backdrop for their growing bond. As they walked through the exhibits, Eric found himself drawn to Eliza's insightful comments about each piece. Her passion was infectious, and he felt inspired by her perspectives. No one could have predicted what happened next, Eliza thought as Eric gently took her hand, a gesture that felt both natural and comforting. They stopped in front of a particularly striking painting, its abstract forms evoking deep emotions. This one is fascinating, Eliza mused. It's like the artist captured the chaos within. Eric nodded, his gaze meeting hers. Sometimes, chaos leads to beauty. It's about finding harmony in the midst of disorder. Their conversation deepened, revealing layers of their personalities. Eliza shared her long-held dream of acting, a passion she had set aside due to responsibilities. Eric listened intently, moved by her honesty. I used to audition for plays all the time, Eliza admitted, but life got in the way. Sometimes I wonder what could have been. Eric squeezed her hand reassuringly. It's never too late to pursue your dreams. Maybe I can help. Eliza looked at him, surprised by his offer. How? Before Eric could respond, a commotion at the entrance caught their attention. A group of excited visitors entered, disrupting the serene atmosphere. Eliza and Eric shared a knowing smile, their moment momentarily interrupted by the lively crowd. As the day turned to evening, they found themselves walking along the riverbank, the city lights reflecting off the water. The conversation flowed effortlessly, each revelation bringing them closer. Eliza felt a sense of trust and comfort with Eric that she hadn't felt in a long time. But beneath the surface, Eric harbored a secret that he struggled to share. The tech millionaire facade was just the beginning. There were layers to his life that Eliza was yet to uncover, secrets that could either bring them closer or tear them apart. As they parted ways that night, Eliza couldn't help but feel that their story was only beginning. Little did she know, the shadows of doubt were slowly creeping in, threatening to cast a pall over their budding romance. The following week brought unexpected twists in Eliza and Eric's relationship. They continued to meet regularly, each encounter revealing more about each other. However, the weight of Eric's hidden truth began to press on him, making it harder to maintain the facade. One evening, as they sat in the coffee shop discussing future plans, Eliza broached a topic close to her heart. I've been thinking about getting back into acting. Maybe join a local theater group. Eric's eyes lit up. That sounds amazing. I'd love to help you with that. Eliza smiled, grateful for his support. Thanks, Eric. It means a lot. As they brainstormed ideas, Eric's phone buzzed. A notification from his secure email popped up, reminding him of an important meeting the next day. His heart raced. If anyone found out about his true identity, everything could unravel. Eliza thought as Eric excused himself to take the call. She watched him walk away, sensing the tension in his posture. A pang of concern struck her, but she chose not to press the issue, respecting his privacy. The next morning, Eliza found herself distracted at work, her thoughts consumed by Eric. She decided to call John, hoping to catch up. Their conversation was lighthearted, but Eliza couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss with Eric. Meanwhile, Eric grappled with his dilemma. The truth about his past and his reasons for concealing his identity weighed heavily on him. He knew that honesty was essential, but the fear of losing Eliza kept him silent. As fate would have it, the day of the important meeting coincided with a local tech conference where Eric was a keynote speaker. Determined to maintain his cover, he arrived at the event, only to find Eliza unexpectedly there as well. Their eyes met across the crowded room, and a tension-filled silence enveloped them. Eliza approached him, her curiosity evident. "Eric, what's going on? You've seemed distant lately." Eric took a deep breath, feeling the walls closing in. "There's something I need to tell you, Eliza. Something important." Eliza listened intently as Eric began to unravel his true story. He spoke of his background in the tech industry, his rise to success, and the reasons behind his initial deception. Eliza felt a whirlwind of emotions: betrayal, confusion, but also understanding. As Eric finished, the room seemed to hold its breath. Eliza took a moment to process the revelation. "Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me the truth from the beginning?" Eric looked down, regret evident in his eyes. "I was scared. Scared of losing you before we even really knew each other." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden commotion outside. The lights flickered, and the room buzzed with whispers. No one could have predicted what happened next. The conference was abruptly shut down due to a security threat. Panic ensued as attendees scrambled for safety. In the midst of the chaos, Eliza and Eric found themselves huddled together, the bond between them tested by both external and internal conflicts. As the situation outside escalated, they realized that their relationship stood at a crossroads, with the truth acting as both a bridge and a barrier. The security threat at the conference turned out to be a false alarm, but the incident left everyone shaken. As the crowd dispersed, Eliza and Eric remained together, their conversation resuming amidst the lingering tension. "Eliza, I understand if you need time," Eric said softly, his eyes searching hers for any sign of forgiveness. Eliza took a deep breath, her mind racing. "I appreciate your honesty, Eric, but I need to think about everything." They decided to take a walk to clear their heads. The night air was cool, and the city lights cast a soft glow on the streets. As they walked side by side, the earlier excitement was replaced by a contemplative silence. Eliza thought as she considered the depth of Eric's revelation. Trust was fragile, and rebuilding it would take time. Over the next few days, Eliza kept her distance, focusing on her work and her budding acting career. Eric, on the other hand, found himself restless, missing their conversations and the connection they shared. Determined to make things right, he reached out to John once more. "John, I need your help," Eric confessed. "I don't want to lose Eliza, but I'm not sure how to fix this." John, ever the supportive friend, offered a plan. "Why don't you show her the real you? Maybe invite her to your world and let her see who you truly are." Encouraged by John's advice, Eric decided to invite Eliza to his mansion for a casual dinner. It was a bold move, one that could either mend their relationship or push her further away. Meanwhile, Eliza received the invitation. She was hesitant but curious, wondering if Eric was sincere in his efforts to reconcile. After some deliberation, she agreed, deciding to give their relationship another chance. The night of the dinner arrived, and Eliza stepped into Eric's opulent home. The grandeur of the mansion was overwhelming, but Eliza focused on the person in front of her. Eric greeted her warmly, ensuring that the atmosphere was relaxed and comfortable. As they sat down to dinner, Eric shared stories about his life beyond the tech industry, his passions, his dreams, and the struggles he faced. Eliza listened, seeing a different side of him, one that was vulnerable and genuine. Eliza thought as she began to understand the complexities of Eric's character. The walls between them started to crumble, replaced by a newfound understanding and empathy. As the evening progressed, their conversation deepened, laying the groundwork for rebuilding trust. Eliza realized that Eric's intentions were pure, and his actions were driven by fear rather than deceit. The night ended on a hopeful note, with both feeling optimistic about the future of their relationship. However, lurking beneath the surface were unresolved tensions and external pressures that threatened to disrupt their fragile peace. As they navigated this new phase, they would soon discover that love often faces trials that test its strength and resilience. Eliza and Eric's relationship began to flourish as they spent more time together. The dinner at Eric's mansion had been a turning point, allowing them to reconnect on a deeper level. Their conversations were now filled with mutual respect and understanding, laying a strong foundation for their budding romance. One afternoon, Eliza invited Eric to watch her perform in a local theater play. She had taken her first steps back into acting, and Eric was eager to support her. The theater was intimate, with a small but attentive audience. As Eliza took the stage, Eric watched proudly, admiring her talent and passion. After the performance, they celebrated at a nearby cafe. "You were incredible, Eliza," Eric praised, his eyes shining with admiration. "Thank you, Eric. It feels good to be back," she replied, her smile genuine. "And I couldn't have done it without your encouragement." Their happiness, however, was not to last. A week later, Eliza received an anonymous message warning her about Eric's true intentions. The message was vague but hinted at secrets Eric was keeping from her. Confused and worried, Eliza confronted Eric. "I received a message today warning me about you. What's going on?" Eric was taken aback. "I don't know who sent that, but I assure you, Eliza, I have nothing to hide anymore." Eliza wasn't entirely convinced. The message planted seeds of doubt, and she couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something was amiss. She decided to do some investigating on her own, using her network from the coffee shop and the theater. Meanwhile, Eric continued to be transparent, sharing more about his life and ambitions. He introduced Eliza to his close friends and even invited her to join him at various tech events. Eliza appreciated his efforts, but the shadow of the anonymous message lingered in her mind. One evening, as they were preparing for a weekend getaway, Eliza stumbled upon an old photograph in Eric's study. It showed him with another woman, his expression tense. Her heart raced as she tried to recall where she had seen the photo before. "Eliza, is everything okay?" Eric asked, noticing her distress. She hesitated, then decided to confront him. "Who is she?" Eric's face paled. "That's my sister Laura. We had a falling out a few years ago, but we've started talking again." Eliza felt a mix of relief and residual suspicion. "I see. I just want to make sure there's nothing you're keeping from me." Eric reached out, taking her hands in his. "I promise, Eliza, you're the only one for me. Whatever challenges we face, we'll overcome them together." As they embarked on their weekend trip, the tension between them began to ease. They enjoyed each other's company, relishing the moments of peace and happiness. But the underlying issues still needed to be addressed, and both knew that open communication was essential for their relationship to thrive. Just as they were finding their rhythm, a new challenge loomed on the horizon, threatening to test the strength of their bond. The weekend getaway provided Eliza and Eric with much-needed respite. They enjoyed long walks on the beach, intimate dinners under the stars, and heartfelt conversations about their dreams and fears. The connection between them grew stronger, and for a while, it seemed like nothing could disrupt their harmony. However, echoes of the past soon began to resurface. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Eliza shared a personal story about her childhood dreams of becoming an actress and the circumstances that led her to prioritize responsibilities over her passion. Eric listened intently, offering words of encouragement. "It's never too late to pursue what you love. Maybe you should audition for that play you mentioned." Eliza smiled, touched by his support. "Maybe you're right." As they planned for Eliza's next audition, Eric received a cryptic message from an unknown number. The message was brief, but alarming. "Stay away from Eliza, or else." Panic set in as Eric realized the threat was real. He hadn't anticipated that his past would intrude into his present, jeopardizing the relationship he cherished with Eliza. Determined to protect her, he decided to confront the issue head-on. Eliza thought as she noticed Eric's unusual behavior. He seemed distracted, his mind elsewhere. Concerned, she asked, "Is everything okay, Eric?" He hesitated, then chose honesty. "There's something I need to tell you. It's about my past and why someone might want to harm me. And you." Eliza listened as Eric recounted his history in the tech industry, the rivals he had made, and the threats he had received. The anonymous message was a clear sign that his enemies were targeting him once again. Eliza felt a surge of fear and determination. "We'll get through this together," she vowed. They decided to take precautionary measures, increasing security around Eric's mansion and being vigilant about their surroundings. Eliza also reached out to John, seeking his advice and support. As days turned into weeks, the tension mounted. The threat remained, casting a shadow over their otherwise blissful relationship. Eliza tried to focus on her acting, pouring her emotions into her performances, while Eric juggled his professional responsibilities with the constant fear of danger. One evening, as they were leaving the coffee shop, a figure lurked in the shadows, watching their every move. The sense of being followed was undeniable, and fear gripped them both. They hurried to Eric's mansion, their hearts pounding with anxiety. Inside, Eric and Eliza discussed their next steps. "We need to find out who's behind this and why," Eric stated firmly. Eliza nodded, her resolve hardening. "I won't let anything happen to you. We need to uncover the truth." Their quest for answers led them to unexpected places, unearthing secrets that tested their trust and resilience. As they delved deeper, they discovered that the threat was more personal and sinister than they had imagined, forcing them to confront not only external dangers, but also the vulnerabilities within their relationship. As Eliza and Eric found themselves entangled in a web of deceit and danger, pushing their love to its limits. Eliza and Eric's investigation into the threats revealed unsettling truths. They discovered that Eric's former business partner, Marcus, had orchestrated the intimidation to gain control of their previous ventures. Marcus had always been envious of Eric's success and was willing to go to any lengths to undermine him. As they delved deeper, the danger escalated. One night, while leaving the coffee shop, they were ambushed by masked assailants. A struggle ensued, but fortunately, they managed to escape unharmed, albeit shaken. The incident confirmed the severity of the threat and the urgency to AC Eliza thought as she clung to Eric during their narrow escape. The realization that their lives were now intertwined with danger added a new layer of complexity to their relationship. Determined to protect Eliza, Eric intensified his security measures. He hired additional security personnel and installed advanced surveillance systems in his mansion. However, the presence of threats outside made it difficult to relax and enjoy their time together. Amidst the chaos, Eliza found solace in her acting. Her performances became more intense, reflecting the turmoil she felt inside. Eric admired her strength and resilience, finding comfort in her unwavering support. One day, while reviewing security footage, Eric and John identified one of the assailants as a former employee of Marcus's company. This breakthrough led them to Marcus's hideout, where they confronted him with the evidence. Marcus, cornered and desperate, tried to justify his actions. "You took everything from me, Eric. Now, I'm taking back what's rightfully mine." Before the situation could escalate, the police arrived, summoned by John's quick thinking. Marcus was arrested, bringing a temporary end to the immediate threat. However, the experience left Eliza and Eric deeply scarred, realizing that their relationship had been tested in ways they never imagined. In the aftermath, they took time to heal and rebuild their trust. Eric opened up more about his fears and vulnerabilities, while Eliza shared her own struggles and hopes for the future. Their bond grew stronger, forged in the fires of adversity. As they moved forward, they remained vigilant, aware that threats could resurface at any moment. Their love had been tested, but it had also proven resilient, capable of withstanding the darkest of storms. Just as they began to find peace, new opportunities and challenges awaited, shaping the next chapter of their intertwined lives.